We're about to start now. We are going to make it quick and sharp. This is how it's going to roll. And we already have, so people who are on YouTube are the people who are not in the conference. But then we are monitoring the comments and all that. On Zoom, those are where the delegates are. We are going to allow them, and please note what we are trying to do. We have said that we cannot continue to sit on the fence anymore. Let's take our politics outside the realities of the Nigerian situation. Now, anybody, no, let's get involved. Now, yes, registration has closed. But can people still pay to come to Abeokuta? And they will be able to vote. So probably based on what you hear today, you will go and pay that late penalty. How much is penalty? No 10K. Pay the 10K and go and vote for the chairman of your choice. If you have registered but did not plan to attend, maybe based on what you hear today, you will say, let me go and vote for this person that looks like it will take us out of where we are now. That's the objective. So we will allow them an initial 3 minutes each. Timekeeper. 3 minutes each to give us introduction of themselves. After which, I will ask them some prepared questions. After which, we will then take questions from the audience. So please pen down your questions so that we can be fast about this and then we can be on our way so that somebody can take the remaining 25K. So, who goes first? These are the two gentlemen. Come September what? 3rd. Is that the election day? Come September 4th. One of these two well-packaged men will be your national chairman. And this is an opportunity for us to ask them why. Wait till I see when I take commot. So who goes first? Okay, let me ask who goes first. You do mini anymore. Mini. One, he always ends with the second person. Whoever he starts with is the one, so that one doesn't work. Tombo, basket. What can I use? Alphabetically. First name or surname? Olubuale, Oladi, O, both O, both L, A, okay, Oladigo. Okay, so alphabetical. Mic check, please. Good. All right. So you may want to come to the lectern.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Please look at there's a timepiece on this side. You have 3 minutes to tell us about yourself.
All right. Thank you very much. I'm Pharmacist Oladigbo Adewale Aderemi. I graduated from IFE. I did my internship at MOPSIN. And somebody has described me as a great expert of pharmacy to the national level from Rivers State. I will tell you a short story about myself, and that story mirrors the whole of my life. You must have heard about this story of the broken shekere, a musical instrument. The best player in the island has been invited to come and play for the king of the land. And on his way to playing, after serious preparation, he got trapped in the mud. And then his musical instrument got broken. He wept, but nobody saw his tears. And then eventually when he picked up himself, he went straight to the king's palace. And that day, he played the best instrument for the king to dance with. That is the mirror of my life. Nobody saw his tears, and he played the best instrument because he had to play so hard to impress the audience. That is the story of my life, and this is the linkage. I set out to acquire 4 master's degrees when I left school, and here I found myself. My broken instrument is those aspirations that I had, and then I'm playing so hard now so that I can drive values for you, for community pharmacists in Nigeria, and indeed for the bigger society. I've had big opportunities to play. I've had opportunity to be the secretary of ACPN in River State. And because I study what others are doing, I came out with a platform. And for the 3 years that I had to represent my state in state dynamics, I came first. Not once, not twice, but 3 good times. And then I had the opportunity to serve as ACPN chairman in River State. And I look around, there was no 1 liter water for reconstruction of ORS. And I said, we are here to drive values. We are here to improve the lives of Nigeria. We are here to drive down the disability-adjusted life years in Nigeria. And we all know that if we keep on doing what we are doing before, we are going to get the same results, so we have to do something differently. So I sat down with my team, and I said, look, it is time for us to make a 1 liter water. Aqua Farmer project is a success today. The whole, when you come to PSN conference in River State, that's the water you are going to drink. That's the water mothers are using for reconstruction of ORS. Because we all know that when we do that with guess estimates of the water level, then we are not going to get the result that we want. So we sat down, we conceptualized the Aqua Farmer Water Project. Today, it's yielding millions of naira in revenue to ACPN in River State. To the level that ACPN in River State is contemplating in due levies back on 2022. Not only that, I moved with my team from 75 square meter space where we used to have PSN conference. As PSN chairman, I moved them to 8 plots of land for pharmacy resources center. And this we drove innovatively. How did we get to that place? I said, 1, in the pharmacy resource center, we are going to have Center for Drug Abuse Reduction Services. And when we sold this Center for Drug Abuse Reduction Services to a particular family, they gave us 20 million naira immediately. And they had to pay 1 million naira annually to maintain that center. Again, I came out with the concept that we are going to have quality assurance for food, medicines, and water, and that again gave us 15 million naira. And that's why I am here, playing hard to impress you, to make sure that community pharmacy in Nigeria is better. Thank you very much.
All right. We are still going to have time to engage them more specifically, but this is the icebreaker. 3 minutes to tell us. So let's reset another 3 minutes, and let's have go for go. All right. Pharmacist Olugbenga Olubowale, in 3 minutes, sir, tell us why we need you.
My very distinguished colleagues, organizers of this very beautiful project. My name is Benga Olubowale, a fellow of PSN, a one-time secretary and chairman of Lagos State ACPN. Also at the time, I was the national secretary of PSN. I also became the Lagos State chairman of PSN. For close to 20 years, it has been a life of service at various cadres, various levels, both within my states and at the national level. 2006 in Kaduna, the ACPN 25th Annual National Conference was anchored by myself, CADA 2006. Again, at PSN level, 2016, I was again called upon to come and anchor the PSN National Conference in Minna, 2006. This talk and spoke about leadership quality. It has always been what I do regularly. Again, I'm a pharmapreneur with 7 other colleagues of ours, 2004 precisely, because I believe more in coming to the table with solutions. Everybody, an average pharmacist, knows the precise problems with pharmacy. But we are looking for people who will give us solutions and practical solutions. These are the things I'm coming to the table with. 2004, precisely, with 7 other young pharmacists. We were all in our 30s. We pulled resources together. We identified a need, a gap, and we went to work. We floated Farmfort Network Limited. That is a company we started with just 3 of us in a very small compartment area. Eventually, we bought over the property. We built the property. Today, that is a billion naira worth of business owned by pharmacists like you. Also, I have tested myself outside pharmacists. For 4 years, I was a consultant to USAID shops, where we have our capacity building program in 6 states of Abia, Benue, Edo, Nasarawa, Kaduna, and Lagos states. And I led the business unit of that program, working with lawyers, accountants, and bankers. And we were in these 6 states back to back for 4 years, building capacity of pharmacists in community practice, doctors running clinics, and nurses running nursing homes. These are so many other things that we have done. When I was the chairman of Lagos State ACPN, I came into the office with a deficit of 600,000 naira. I left the office after 3 years in 2009 with an excess of 7 million naira. It's a fact check. It is there on record. Also, dear colleagues, when I was the Lagos State PSN, because I was passionate about empowerment, about the welfare of our colleagues, what did I do? I started the concept of welfare and insurance, life insurance for our members. Today, we have close to 10 of our colleagues who passed away. They are next of kin, collecting 1 million naira each. These are facts. Well, these are the reasons why I believe we need to go with Go. Benga Olubowale for greater opportunity. Let us go there. Let's go there.
All right. Now, in consulting, they say something. When you are in a position like this, they say you have a good problem. A good problem, you have 2 good candidates. So, I think we're on the right track. Okay, so before I'm trying to now, just very quickly, because these are the 2 men one of them will be the person to lead the team. That's why we have them here. However, there are other elective positions. Interestingly, Farm Alliance also has a good problem in that 2 of the members of Farm Alliance, are contesting for the position of National Vice Chair. And so one of your vices, I think there are only 2 candidates, right? So one of your vices will be one of us. And so we are not taking a debate. We are only saying, take a bow. So that you are the people that you will make or break the Okay, so I'm trying to call up, one of them is here, the other is not. And because we always play fair, it's just take a bow. So I'm trying to call up the flyer and then we'll show the image. While Pharmacist Jonah Okote, please rise. Take a bow. He's one of the contestants for the vice chairmanship position of ACPN. And then once I call up this image, I'll project it on the screen. The second contestant is Pharmacist Bridget Otote. She's also, okay, I have it now. So even we don't have candidates. One of us will win. Okay, so can we? Okay, good. So that's the candidate for the second candidate, Pharmacist Bridget Aladi Otote, based in Abuja. Okay. So, do you have questions for them? If you don't have, it makes it very fast. If you do, let's write it and then we'll collate. But I'll start with Pharmacist Pharmacist Oladigbolu again. So you take these questions on your seats now. You don't need to come to the lectern. In the drug distribution system in Nigeria, the drug distribution system in Nigeria is an array. If elected ACPN chairman, what will you do differently to reduce the chaos in the system? 2 minutes.
All right, thank you very much. So it's interesting to note that drug distribution system in Nigeria has collapsed for over 4 decades. And then we have had several schemes. We have had meetings initiatives that are not working. So what will I do differently? We advocate seriously that all medicine logistics will move to IT platform. We just had a session yesterday, and we can see that ITs are breaking barriers. Look at what Uber is doing. Look at what Bolt is doing. Taxis are cheaper. So what is happening in our system right now is that the chaos is causing a lot of wastages, a lot of expiration. People, the prices of drugs are up just because we are relooping in the system. So if we move all drug logistics to IT platform, especially for the professionals, this will help us break down barriers, reduce wastages, and then we will have our profession in our hands. You will remember that someone once said that we need to ring-fence this profession. The only way to ring-fence the profession is for us to have the drug logistics in our hand. So what am I advocating for? I'm advocating that all wholesalers, all retailers, all importers, and all distributors to be on one single IP platform, such that when you want to place your order, you only need to put in your password, go to your dashboard, see all your wholesalers in your system, and place order, and then credit ratings can be arranged through it, so that people who go from wholesaler to wholesalers owing them can be to be in the red, and then wholesalers can be careful. And so this will solve a lot of problems for us. And for many places where I've said it, they said this is audacious. They said this is not possible. Until I came across somebody who has worked with PCN for a very long time. And he told me that WHO initiative, this is what WHO is talking about. And even the Federal Ministry of Health has a white paper on it. And yet in pharmacy cycle, we are not discussing it. So if you vote for me, I will advocate for this. If my advocacy fails, I will create one, because this overvalue for everyone within the system. Retailers, wholesalers, and distributors, it overvalues for all of us. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Pharmacist Olubowale, you have 1 minute to speak to that. Drug distribution in Nigeria is in disarray. If elected ACPN chairman, what will you do differently to reduce the chaos?
Yeah, I'm quite aware that there's a bill before the National Assembly, the National Drug Distribution Guideline, which has been there for close to a decade now. And there's every need for us to get that particular guideline out. It talks about the coordinated wholesale centers, whereby we have structures in place that can monitor what goes in and what comes out. Again, because I've been an inspector of PIC for close to 17 years now, and also a national enforcement, members of PCN, which means it has afforded me the opportunity to actually go around the nation. And I tell you, the peculiarity of each state is quite there. And we need to tackle these things head on. It is serious concern to some of us. And this is something that is affecting the pharmaceutical space. Because where you don't have proper drug network, what we eventually end up with is chaos. And we got to prevent this by all means. So we need to make the PIC works. The PCN law that is currently with the presidency needs to be signed to law. This is what will give the PCN enough bites for them to go after all these, people who are doing the wrong thing in the pharmaceutical space, and then we make it suitable for pharmacists to properly practice and make maximum usage of it. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Next question goes to Mr. Pharmacist Olubowale for 2 minutes, and then Pharmacist Oladigbolu, you have 1 minute to answer the same question. And the question is simple. What prepares you for this? What do you think has prepared you for this task you want to take on to lead ACPN, especially at this time? 2 minutes, sir.
Thank you once again, moderator. When I was introducing myself, I gave a breakdown of my service of 20 years, non-broken records of service to the profession in various capacity, and more of it in the leadership capacity. This has helped me to actually understand what is here with our practice. Why is community pharmacists in Nigeria not getting to the level it's supposed to get to? Why are things happening the way they are happening? Interaction with colleagues, moving all around, it has clearly shown to us what is the issue. The last 7-8 national chairman of ACPN are people I've worked with very closely. And in those capacity, I've been opportune to have an insight into what exactly are the issues. Most of the solutions are still ongoing. They need to be concluded. And we need to also bring forth some fresh ideas. So I tell you, the various experience I've garnered, both within the pharmaceutical space and outside, has prepared me for this major task. And I'm bringing to table some level of fresh air, some level of innovation, so that we are not coming to begin to learn the rope. We are hitting the ground running, because already we know where the shoe pinches. These are the things we are bringing to the table. And I tell you, suggestions are going to be welcome. We are going to engage all stakeholders. Everybody will have a role to play. We are going to lobby where we need to lobby. We are going to fight where we need to fight. We shall go to court where we need to go to court. We will not be afraid, because in our own lifetime, pharmacists must be better. It is a task, an assignment all of us must do. And these are the clarion call. Nobody should sit on the bench. We must be ready. We must take charge of our practice. Why our younger colleagues running away from the country? Because the environment is very hostile to them to practice. We must provide this good environment for them to work. So, colleagues, together we shall get there. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Let's appreciate him once again. Pharmacist Oladigbolu, 1 minute to speak to that. What prepares you for what you want to get into?
Thank you very much. Simply put, it's the power of my innovation that is driving me. I have done it in the past, I can do it again. If I can move PSN River State from 75 square meters to 8+ of land under 3 years, and we can build two-story building on that premises under 3 years, then you can give it to me that have the power of innovation. And again, we have been on this road for too long. We need to change tool. We need to do it afraid. We need to change tactics. And we need to put on the thinking cap so that we can do something differently, so that generations yet unborn will not come and ask us questions. When there was chaos in the drug distribution system, what did you do? When there was chaos in the drug distribution system, what power of innovation did you offer? So we need to do something differently. That is what is preparing me for this too. And again, I have been ACPN chairman in River State. I have been PSN chairman. I have been ACPN secretary. I have been PSN secretary. So I've had leadership opportunity and I've used it well. Again, the very first time in the history of PSN National that you have a mobile app at your conferences, I designed those mobile apps. So I understand the language of technology and I know what technology can do for us to break down barriers.
All right, we're already getting, do you have questions here? Because we're already getting questions online. And I think we'll just focus on online since you're already enjoying the physical meeting. I'll go to Pharmacist Olubuwale now. Can you identify in 2 minutes, identify specific challenges and preferred solutions to those challenges you have identified as challenges community pharmacists in Nigeria are facing? 2 minutes, sir.
All right, number one is empowerment of quality pharmacists. And I tell you, when you are in the profession and you are not fulfilled, there's bound to be a lot of problem. How do we intend to actually make our colleagues empowered? One is to actually provide conducive environment for them, working with all the needed agencies, using whatever laws available to ensure we get this done. Number two way to provide empowerment for colleagues is capacity building, just like what we are doing here. This is what Farm Alliance is all about. This is what panel is all about. Capacity building, because an average community pharmacist was never trained as a businessman. When you came out of school with your B Farm or Farm D, you are just a scientist purely. Now, the difficult situation we found ourselves is that as community pharmacists, we are wearing 2 caps at every given time. You have the business cap and then the practice cap. You must strike a balance between these two. Otherwise, one will subsume the other. If you cannot pay your bills, you cannot get the best hand to run the affairs in the pharmacy for you, automatically you are going to run into trouble. So how do we get the needed skill? Through continuous training, through capacity building, These are things that will be done. Again, one of the major challenge is access to finance. Most of us actually need finances, and we are looking for single-digit finance. As the chairman of Lagos State ACPN, way back in 2006, 2007, there was a package done for us, specifically for Lagos State ACPN members and Abuja FCT ACPN members by Fidelity Bank, whereby we were able to guarantee our members for as much as 5 million, 10 million. Once you are a financial member and then you are in good standing with the association, they will give you this particular money, you will run with it. And when you run with it, you begin to see effect and impact in your practice. Another thing that I believe in is the power of unity, power of group practice. That was what brought about myself and several other pharmacists going into alliance in 2004. Just like what I told you yesterday by Mrs. Akinriade, Akikube, that look, she has that one business she was running doing very well. But then she thought she needed partners to do bigger things. For me, that is one other way we can go to empower ourselves. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Now I'll ask pharmacist Oladi. Okay, you have 1 minute to respond to the same thing, Abi. Okay, so please go ahead.
All right, thank you very much. One thing that baffles me
in 1 minute
is the kind of practice environment that we have for community pharmacy. I describe it as a nail on the neck environment. Very excruciating. It's not only excruciating, it's very demeaning. And it's not only demeaning, the prognosis is just mortality. If we go the way we are going, it's death to community pharmacy practice in Nigeria. And so I'm going to speak directly to that environment in several ways. One, I keep emphasizing technology. We can see what technology is doing for us. So I'm going to say to PCN, look, we as community pharmacists, we need a key performance indicators for you. And then we need a mobile application so that wherever patent medicine dealers are, we can map them. We have the figures, you have the figures. So we can begin to ask direct questions to those who regulate us and unregulate the other parties. So we can begin to put them on the spot that these things we need to do them. So that's very important to me. It's also important to me for me to grow the depth of your practice. And this, I have done it severally. One, I believe that what we are doing in community pharmacy practice is huge and they are not being reported. And if they are reported, we will have more recognition. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, sir. Now, so one other question, and then we move to the questions, more questions online, There are just, and this goes to you for 2 minutes and then 1 minute responding. There are just about 5,000 pharmacies in Nigeria with great disequilibrium in their distribution. Concentration in some places, scarcity in other places. How will you address this issue as ACPN National Chairman?
All right. If you give me the mandate to lead ACPN, one thing we need to note is that as of 2019, there are 4,460 community pharmacies in Nigeria. And between Rivers State, Lagos State, and FCT, we have close to 80% of the community pharmacies. In Rivers State, for example, about 15 local government does not have the presence of one community pharmacy. And in Oyo State, as cosmopolitan as that is, 17 local government headquarters do not have community pharmacy. So what I'm going to do differently, if today were to be the election day, the very first card I'll be putting on the table of the executive is how to raise 100 million naira, not from your dues and levies, so that majority of young pharmacists and few experienced ones who are ready to be retrained, rebranded in a build-to-win process can access this funding and go to underserved areas to set up their practices. This is so important because each time we talk about primary health care services in community pharmacy, if I ask you now, where are those primary health care services needed? Urbanized area or rural area? The answer is simple. It's in the rural area. Why will government listen to you? Majority of your members are in the urban health centers. So urban centers are well covered. So what are we going to do differently is to provide funding so that people can go to rural areas or underserved areas to set up community pharmacy, so that when we are talking to federal government of Nigeria, we can say, look, our members have the spread, we have the numbers. And just come along with me. About 20 years ago, we only have 5 schools of pharmacy. Now we have about 21 schools of pharmacy, and we are still counting. And we are beginning to see the symptoms of the stress industry. How do I mean? Now people are finding it difficult to get internship placement, and then there is underemployment in our sector. So we need to be intentional. We need to be creative about planning the future for community pharmacy practice in Nigeria. And this is the way to go. Because when we create this push and pull, then people who are in paid employment will earn more money. People who are in private practice will also earn more money. So that is what I'm going to do differently to address the disequilibrium in the pharmacy sector in Nigeria. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, sir. The questions are beginning to come in. We'll try as much as possible to be brisk. So on, what platform is this? I think this is on Zoom. One of the delegates says, I'll give you each, oh, sorry, you have 1 minute, sorry.
All right. According to a survey done by PharmAccess Foundation, close to 68% of Nigerians want to access their health need from the community pharmacy. That is huge. Opportunity is huge there. However, we will be told that several states, several local governments will have pharmacies. So what do we have? A disproportionate. How do we begin to encourage colleagues to move to the rural area? Rural pharmacy concept will be the way to go. We must provide incentives for some of our colleagues who are doing so well in the urban cities to begin to have branches in rural area. And some other colleagues who are aged, who are probably not as energetic to stay in the town, or some of our youngsters who want adventure, to move into this rural area with incentives. We need to work with our regulators to begin to soften some of the entry requirements for somebody that wants to go into rural setup, because we have to encourage them. So rather than the stringent measure to open a standard pharmacy, we can begin to see where some of these laws can be bent to encourage us to move to the local government and the rural area. That way, we will have enough coverage in the country, and further image of pharmacies will be improved upon. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Now we'll go to the questions from the audience. We have 4 right now, and 5. And I think because the day is far spent, we will not be taking any much more. So if you are, all right. So somebody is asking, Naomi Bazunu is asking, and I'll give each of you 2 minutes to answer. If elected chairman, what will you do about those hawking drugs in our community? Patent stores selling every and anything, and also drug abuse in community pharmacy.
All right,
okay,
thank you very much. On drug abuse, I have done tremendous job on drug abuse in Rivers State. 1, we are the first to organize a roundtable discussion on drug abuse, and we are already implementing the things that we discussed at that roundtable discussion. 1, preventive services is taking place. Secondly, I just told you that a particular family gave PSN Rivers State 20 million naira for drug abuse reduction program, and they are going to pay us annually 1 million naira. And as a PSN chairman in Rivers State, I saw to it that about 15 pharmacists in Rivers State were trained for UNODC courses on drug abuse reduction services. So if elected, the first thing I would do is to encourage pharmacists to do this program, because the UNODC program seeks to professionalize drug abuse reduction services. They want to create another profession out of it. And what are the best to key into this program? They are pharmacists. What you have now are other professionals who are taking the lead in that course. So I will encourage our members to do that. Then, secondly, I've already addressed the issue of chaotic drug distribution system and patent medicine that are doing all sorts of things. If we get it right, all pharmacies, even patent medicine dealers, they will be on the IT platform that we will create. And when we create it, then we can limit the drugs to their schedule, to what they are allowed to buy and dispense. And if by any means PCN goes for inspection, they already have a list of drugs that are purchased by those patent medicine vendors, like I said, within the legitimate cycle. So this is the way to go. And again, several people have described PCN as a toothless bulldog. we will see a way, a creative way to make them have the bite. What do I mean by this? How long do they, how often do they do inspection, even in legitimate pharmacy? Things that cannot happen in advanced country happen here because their inspection is every 2 years. So how we suggest strongly that we have a culture of continuous inspection and then culture of ticketing, so that if they go to patent medicine dealers that are not legitimate, apart from enforcement, they can ticket them and we can empower them to do great things within their legal cycle. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Pharmacist Oluwale, if elected chairman, what will you do about those hawking drugs in our community, patent stores selling anything, drug abuse in community pharmacy? 2 minutes, sir.
Thank you. I believe in the power of engagement, advocacy, collaboration. We need to get everybody on board. It's not just the problem of pharmacists in this country, it's the problem for everybody. Because whether you like it or not, some of us or all of us have somebody or know somebody whose family members has been affected by this very devilish act of charlatans and people who are peddling all these, unwholesome products. Now, when I say engagement, we need to work with the fourth rim of estate. These are the media. We must come with them to the round table, the civil society organizations, the market women, the Nigerian Union of Road Transport Workers, and anybody that matters. We must come and let them understand the magnitude of the problem. Again, we as pharmacists, we witness various issues and instances in our community. We need to start documenting some of these things and reporting it centrally. When we have all this together, we now begin to have what we call evidence-based arguments. When we go to meet government and policymakers, it will be easier for us to let them understand the magnitude of the damage to the people, to the public, to the nation as a whole, and again, the economic impact of these abuses, of these fake and adulterated products being sold everywhere. So it is not just about pharmacists. We are going to do our own part, but more importantly, there is that need for visibility, there is that need for health education, there is that need to do more of outreach, there is that need to ginger the environment and let them understand the danger of what is going on, and to let them realize that if we don't kill this particular drug abuse syndrome and what have you, it's going to kill this, it's going to kill every one of us, and it's going to destroy our future, which is our children. And we have to find a way by our to stop this. So it's a wholesome call for everybody that we need to let them realize, as the experts in drug, showcase them data, information, and together we're going to fashion out a way out of this problem. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Please, the online and offline, we have enough questions. After this, let's be going home. I have about 5 more questions here, and we'll take all of them. The community. So I'll take pharmacist Oluwale next. The community pharmacy space. YPG, are you here? Young pharmacists, are you still around? Okay, they're asking your question. Jonathan Ikoku is asking, the community pharmacy space is seen as not having career growth for young pharmacists. Do you have strategies to make the community pharmacy space a greener pasture for young pharmacists? 2 minutes, sir.
Definitely, Mr. Bedrito. Personally, my premises, which I founded in 1999 till to date, which is doing pretty well, we have been accredited as an internship placement center for close to 5 years now. Every year I have 2 young pharmacists that actually we engage to train them on how we do it in community practice. We also second them to other institutions for them to have some knowledge over there. And beyond this, what do we do again? We have quite a lot of corpus that comes in, and what do? We mix roundtable. I encourage them. I tell you, when I was going to start the internship placement in my place, most of them don't want to come around. What did I do? I benchmark their take home with what they are expecting at the federal institution. And I tell you, people who have passed through me will tell you, give you some very positive lots to say about how we engage them. And we show them that, look, you can start with a small dream, and from there you grow. Because that's the way some of us also started. My only challenge with most of our youngsters is that, look, many of you, I'm not saying all of you, are eager to run without first learning how to crawl. So it's a process. We need more of mentoring to be done for these guys. We need more exposure to be done with them. I believe in fair play. And that is, if you want to earn X amounts of money, no problem. But can you walk the walk? Can you do the work? It's as simple as that. So don't come and give me a bogus figure. We'll give you targets. Let us all sit down and This is the book. You see how it is when you are coming in. 3 months, 6 months, where are we? If you have done fantastically well, why not? We can sit back and renegotiate all these things. It must be a win-win at every time for everybody. That should be the spirit. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, sir. 2 minutes too.
Thank you very much. Career progression in community pharmacy is so sad. So very sad that when you join a community pharmacy, you join as a superintendent pharmacist. And when you retire, you still retire as a superintendent pharmacist. And when you are even switching job, there is nothing to show that you have had some years of experience. You are still going to take at the table of young pharmacists, even though you have 10 years of experience. So what should we do differently? I believe that we should encourage PCN to incentivize and credential some of the programs that we have. We should encourage West African Postgraduate College of Pharmacists to have short programs for people so that when they earn a cumulative number of points, we can designate them, we can redesignate them. And when they are changing job with those credentials and they are moving up along that line. What do I mean? I was so happy one day, I was with the Commissioner for Health in Rivers State, and one of our colleagues who is into HIV programming came in. And they said he should introduce himself. He said, I'm senior pharmacy specialist. I marveled at that. And I said, no, we can have similarity in community pharmacies. We can look at certification that you have gone through, and we can begin to say you are a pharmacy specialist in diabetes or cardiovascular pharmacy. We can begin to say you are a senior pharmacy specialist in oncology. So that when you are going to another premises, you are going with that credentials, and the person is already expecting that he's going to pay you more for it. So that is the way to go, and that's what we are going to encourage PCN and other training institutions to do. There's one thing I want to say that China may not like me for it. I also believe that in Nigeria, we need accreditation for those who provide post-qualification education like China is doing, right? Because if PCN gives China accreditation and is training me on vaccination, for example, I can take that training to anywhere, that certification to any part of the world to say, look, I've been trained by somebody that is accredited by PCN. Is that not the way to go? All right, thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, this is another question for either of you. Noting this person acknowledges that both of you are coming with a trailer load of experience. So to each of you, noting the wealth of experience and laudable initiatives you have presented, how do you ensure the survival of your ideas and their eventual implementation, irrespective of the outcome of these elections? You have spoken well. If you don't win, what will happen? Because somebody else asked a question. If you lose, will you support the winner to deliver on the objectives? For each of you. Yeah. All right. Okay. Yes, sir.
That's a very pretty good question. Nobody goes out to the field with the intention of losing. But then, sometimes it is not dependent on you to decide the outcome of any contest. All we need to do is to present our very best, which I believe we are doing. Pharmacist Wale Oladigolu is a good friend of mine. We've come a long way. And for me, it's never a do or die affair. We should enjoy this race. And my take is that the very best person who is more ready to hit the ground and run with his ideas should be given the opportunity. And whoever emerged, we support. So it's not about any bitterness, it's about society, it's about community pharmacy practice. So that is my take.
All right, thank you. Over to you, sir.
All right, thank you very much. I'll give you an example of how my brain is wired. When YPG invited us to Abuja, I had to call Pharmacist Benga. These people are bringing us out again. Should we go or should we stay? If he had said we should stay, we would have abstained from that and avoid the risk of traveling to Abuja and back to Port Harcourt and all the rest. So, what am I trying to say? That's my brain is wired. I've been on this trend for some time. My programs are housed, and my manifestos are going to be in the public sphere. So, if I don't win, it will be my greatest pleasure to see him implementing some of the proposals that I have. Why? Because I have deceived 2 people into studying pharmacy. Those 2 people are part of my DNA. My sister's first daughter is a pharmacist. My first daughter is a pharmacist. So why will I hide any idea that I have? My ideas are in the open. And if he wins, I will support him wholeheartedly. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. It's just about to get better for ACPN. So, the average, so to both of you, we are running out of time, so 1 minute each going forward. The average community pharmacy is restricted from doing many things, for example, vaccination services. As the next ACPN chairman, what will you do to make the Nigerian pharmacists empowered to carry out these services?
Yeah,
Yes,
currently, I am the chairman of the program and the strategy committee of the current administration. And one of the key things we are doing now is we have a multi-sectoral kind of committee that involves our colleagues within and outside the country, from NAPSA, from UK, professorals, and what have you. We are all thinking, working. There have been several representations made to the National Primary Health Care Agency on the need to allow formally to recognize community pharmacists as a center for primary health care. Because I tell you, all of us are doing certain level of primary health care anyway, in our various premises as of today. But all we are craving for is that recognition. Again, starting on the 30th of August, there is this vaccination training being packaged by this outgoing executive with our colleagues in NAPSA, that's in America, UK, and then other places. It's all about equipping us, because it is not enough for us to go to government and say, you know what, give us the right to start being recognized as a primary health care center. We must show them that we are prepared, we are ready. We can give them information. We have already 1,000 pharmacists trained and ready to be deployed to start acting as primary health care center, to start giving vaccination, to start doing immunization. That is the way to go. It's another key source of income to us in community pharmacy practice. Because, as I told you, 70% of the public wants to come first to the community pharmacy for their various health needs. So how much more if you are giving that needed, recognition at that level by government? Again, we are talking with the Pharmacists Council of Nigeria and NAFDAC. It's an all-inclusive kind of committee, which are legacies that will benefit an average pharmacist tomorrow, today, and forever. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Pharmacist Oladigolu, let's go.
All right, thank you very much. I did my first vaccination program, I think about 6 years ago, and then we're having another one. So I encourage every pharmacist to try and link up with this vaccination training. It's a good thing. The outgoing executive, they are leaving a legacy behind. And then we are going to continue along that line. We don't have a choice. We are going to continue with advocacy. And there's one thing that is paramount in my mind is I'm going to use my God-given potentials to unite across the divide to make sure that this vaccination training does not go into the tin air just like that. I'm going to make sure that every resource around the country is invested so that we can get what we want from the Federal Ministry of Health. Because what is taking place presently is that we are not able to unite and then forge ahead. So I'm going to bring that unity into play and ensure that community pharmacies are appropriately recognized and remunerated for vaccination. Thank you.
All right, 1 minute for the next, 1 minute each for the next 3 questions, and we are done. In listening to the keynote speaker of yesterday, one of the identified areas or gaps in the industry is the issue of leadership, which is core to any successful entity. What are your views concerning these observations, and how prepared are you to change the status quo and provide sincere leadership that will take community pharmacies to the next level? Pharmacist Oladigolu.
All right, thank you very much. I have 2 philosophies of leadership, and I will let you have one of them today. My philosophy of leadership is power is given to the leader for the sake of those who invested in with power originally. So I'm going to be transparent I'm going to adhere to a very strict governorship level that will transpire to high legacy and very big dividends for the people who invested me with power. So if you have the opportunity to be the next ACPN chairman, I will ensure that we have strict accountability protocols at the Secretariat of ACPN. I will also ensure that we have strict procurement protocol at ACPN with different level of authorities. We are going to have budgets, and as soon as you step your legs into conference venue, the bags that will be given to you will contain the accounts for the previous year, so that you can scrutinize it before the AGM, and so that you can bring relevant questions to the AGM, so that we could be guided to do the right thing. My prayer is that you give me your support, and when you give me your support, I will not take that responsibility lightly. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Before you respond, when we finish and then at the Sevilla stand, they have an incentive plan for this conference. If you buy a bundle, on one side you could get a glucometer, another basket you get an Omron BPM, and a third basket you get a combination of the two. For more information, please visit the Sevilla stand. Over to you, sir.
A leader is supposed to inspire the followers. A leader is supposed to be a pathfinder. A leader is supposed to be bold and fearless. A leader should express some level of empathy. A leader should be a problem solver. These and so many others are what I'm bringing to the table. If eventually I become your national chairman, come September 3rd, 2021. So, we have a lot to do, all of us. And like I told you, many things has prepared me for this particular position. That is why I'm called upon time and time again to come and lead. And I've never disappointed in all the leadership role I've played. The record speaks for itself. When we come out final with our 4 cardinal points in our manifesto, it speaks to the direction we are going to take, which I believe, with your support, it eventually took us to that promised land. We will get there eventually together. Thank you.
All right, 2 more questions and then 25,000 naira. If elected chairman, 1 minute or so each. If elected chairman, how will you encourage or drive inclusiveness and active participation in ACPN by states that seem to be dormant? Some ACPN states are not active. What will you do?
Yeah. 1
minute.
I already have it on my templates that as we are doing training at the national level, there will also be training at the zonal levels. Each of the 6 geopolitical zones of Nigeria, I will visit them. I will organize those zonal centers so that we can drive inclusiveness. And also, it's all about making them share the vision that you have. When I share the vision and they see the passion with which I'm leading, I believe a lot of them will come and join me. I notice, even in the current registration, that so many states, you have 2, you have 3. That's lack of interest. That's because something is not happening that is very interesting to them at the center. Again, I come from the background of state dynamics because that's what actually propped me up as a leader. So I'm going to empower that state dynamics, put very good incentives down so that people can come and showcase what they have done in the state. And by that, I believe there will be activities all over Nigeria. Thank you very much.
All right. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, I believe strongly in the power of togetherness. And how do you achieve this? If I'm given that unique opportunity to lead us, the first thing is to actually go around, visit our colleagues in the remotest place in this country. We call a town hall meeting. We'll ask from them feedback. We do some level of needs assessment. What are those things peculiar to you? What are those things germane to your state? What are those things peculiar to your zone that you want? So that we not go back with my neck and the executive. We design various programs that will ensure appropriate participation of everybody. There will be committees that will be set up we will have to have people, representatives from all the states. Because if there is no buy-in from the people you are want to lead as your critical stakeholders, can be sure that is already a recipe for failure. So we need to let the buy-in of everybody. We must all be on the same plate. And meaning, suggestions will be welcome, and together we will critique all this, and we come out with a work plan, a roadmap that will lead us to that desired destination. Thank you.
All right, last question, 1 minute each for each of the contestants, and we will give each of them another 2 minutes to round up their thoughts. So the last question, how do you address the issue of standardization of community pharmacy practice across the country? There is currently a huge knowledge gap and practice gap. You go to some premises and you wonder whether you are in a pharmacy. Let him go first. Yeah.
I strongly believe in the need for standardization. You cannot be practicing one type of pharmacy in Lagos, another type in Edo. No, it is Nigeria. So we need to work together with the PCN and develop some level of protocols and develop some level of SOPs, which everybody will have to keep key into. And beyond keying into it, there is every need to monitor the outcome. So how do we monitor this outcome? It can be monitored from the central. It can even be done locally. I remember as the ACPN chairman in Lagos State, 2006, 2009, while we were creating so many other zones across Lagos, what did we do? We encouraged the zonal leaders and zonal members to begin to pay visits to each other, so that when you go around, you see the level of practice of your colleagues. If it is calling for concern, you can raise a red flag. You can do a friendly advice. When you have done the friendly advice, the person is still not doing the right thing, of course, you can now escalate to the next level. We must do what you call internal cleansing. We must come out with the best practices. We cannot have a Nigerian way of doing things. It is global. We are part of global village, and things must be standardized. Thank you.
All right. Pharmacist Oladigolu.
All right, thank you very much. The issue of standardization in community pharmacy. I was part of the team that crafted the COPA Center initiative, where you have COPA 1, COPA 2, COPA 3. And you know what that order has done to us? It has made sure that some people prepare to and aspire to move from one level of COPA Center to the other. So what can we do differently? One, it is not government responsibility or the responsibility of a parastatal to rate community pharmacy. It is to encourage an independent body that we rate community pharmacy, just like the ISO specification. And if we have such body that rates community pharmacy, what is going to happen? We are going to insist that wherever there will be ARV refills should be at least COPA 1 center, so that everybody sees that there is opportunity in upscaling, in upgrading their practices. And that way, so many people will key in voluntarily without any form of compulsion to the rating system. I'll tell you something. The ARV... All right, so that is just the way to go. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, round of applause for both of them. They have discharged their qualities very well. We are going to give each of them now 2 minutes to round up, in case they forgot something they've now remembered. 2 minutes each. Who started first? You started first. So, sir, however you want it. Just in case you are chairman, how will you do it? 2 minutes.
Very distinguished, esteemed colleagues, it's been a very engaging time with you. I appreciate your calmness. I appreciate your focus. And I tell you, it's just a game. It's about us. We have come prepared. And I tell people, 20 years of solid performance at various levels. I come ready for this job. I am going to hit that ground running from the very first day. I'm not going to begin to learn the book because I've been part of it severally. We are not going to reinvent the wheels. Yes, there will be few things we do somehow differently, but I tell you, we are going to engage. We are going to take into account an average community pharmacist. Empowerment of our colleagues is of utmost importance to me. Because I tell you, I hear people talk about, oh, the older you grow in community pharmacy practice, the poorer you are. And I tell people, that can never be our portion. And I've been demonstrating this for the past decades with valuable results. I have entrepreneurship team everywhere. I've worked with colleague pharmacists. And I tell people, rather than be a one-man show, 100% running a very defective practice, you are sweating, motion without movement. You can look for like-minded, run something beautiful. In that joint venture I have with 7 other colleagues, I have my pension secured already. I have everything guaranteed with that particular program. And I tell you, my children are going to eat from it. While we were starting that project, many of our senior colleagues condemn us that we cannot succeed. But today, 17 years after, it's a success story. I've been going about preaching about that power of unity among colleagues. Don't begin to suffer in silence. Look for people you can trust. And I tell you, don't just go about it on a party level. Get a legal framework. Document everything. So that together, we will have cause to laugh and be fulfilled in this our choosing path. Thank you very much.
Pharmacist Benga Olugbowale, round of applause for him. Pharmacist Wale Oladigolu, over to you. 2 minutes, sir.
All right. Thank you very much, distinguished colleague. Thank you for giving us your time. As you go home, I want you to remember the story of my broken musical instrument. The broken musical instrument is my path, is the trajectory that I wanted to take. And the things that I'm doing now are the strong beats that I'm beating to drive values for community pharmacists in Nigeria. When you go home, please remember my CPS program. That's the Community Pharmacy Expansion Scheme, the 100 million naira bill that I'm going to put on board so that few experienced pharmacists and a lot of young colleagues can have access to funding to set up in underserved area. When you go home, remember that I told you that I'm going to have a clean medicine initiative. The clean medicine initiative will reorder drug distribution system in Nigeria in a very radical and audacious way. And that will move all drug logistics to IT platform. Remember, the gains that we are going to have from this clean medicine initiative. When you go home, please remember that I'm telling you now that I'm going to have a do it and report it program. And that do it and report it program means that on your phone, you have a mobile app. So that as you walk in your premises, we can gather data, we can pool data together. So that when we are going to National Assembly, we have a pool of data to demonstrate. We can say, for example, 1,000 new people are diagnosed of high blood pressure in community pharmacy today. If community pharmacies are not there, see what is going to happen. We need that kind of discussion. Remember that as we go along, so many things will begin to happen, and you will thank yourself for giving me your votes. Vote for me. I represent the new wave. I represent dynamism. I have intuition that tomorrow will be better for community pharmacy if you all pool our resources together. Thank you, and God bless you real good. All right.
Now let's borrow a leaf from what they normally do in PDP APC. All candidates, can you please come stand up, take pictures, shake yourself, let's know it's no war, we are here together. All right. So ladies and gentlemen, behold your candidates. A round of applause for both of them. Come 3 weeks time or so, one of them will be your national chairman. All right, let's use the one for, the one that will go on WhatsApp immediately. This one, they will still go and clean the photo. All right, thank you very much. Let's appreciate them once again.